think the question is, on the tranche B side, what are we doing on the tranche B side to increase, to make sure that we have additional cash flow to make those benefit payments? Okay, so if I understand your question correctly, I'll try to answer that question. As you know, and as I discussed earlier, collections of the fund have been better in the last 6 months than they've ever been. The government has, with some prodding, has made their appropriations. They are current to date. We appreciate that from the government, and we think that everybody worked very hard along with the court to make sure that cash flow was better. The last drawdown for pension benefit payments was the lowest it's been in years. We only drew down $1.65 million to pay the benefits coming up on June 15th. I brought all with me. That is clearly the lowest amount of drawdowns for this fiscal year. The highest amount of drawdowns being, I think, over $4 million. So what that means is that the smaller the drawdowns, the better opportunity we have to extend the life of those benefits. Until I get the actual numbers from the experts, I don't want to tell you that there's going to be any different date in March 1st, 2014. But I think I can tell you that the projections look much better. Nevertheless, until settlement is completed, I would make your financial plans with respect to that particular date. The government and the fund and the plaintiff are working to come to a resolution. And if we're able to come to a resolution, I think everybody's goal is to try to save that pension plan. I don't think anybody has decided that they want to completely give up. But until the settlement is completed in 2 weeks, we won't really know exactly what the status of those benefits are. Let me say this. It is very unlikely that, regardless of the settlement amount, that there is going to be, in this particular settlement process, the pension will go on in perpetuity. That probably will not happen. In fact, I would say it would be impossible for that to happen. I think the goal at settlement now is to extend the life of the pension long enough to get an investment horizon that is a long enough period of time to get us into the equities market and to generate more cash from the investment. Along with, and this is not a one-component plan. There is no one solution to this problem. You will have to have an investment portion of the solution. There will have to be a legislative appropriation of more money. And there's going to have to be some additional laws. I know the pension obligation bond is being debated. There's going to have to be some laws that have certain and definite funding sources in order to keep the pension alive. So that is what we are working on now, is to identify those sources, create an investment horizon that allows for investment, and to get a larger, from our perspective, the fund's perspective, to get a larger appropriation of money from the legislature.
And perhaps I can maybe piggyback on that. I do agree that it will take a lot of different plans of attack in terms of that tranche B, and there are several proposals before the legislature, and I know that the administration is working hard to contribute more than has been done in the past. It is a concerted government effort on that end, and there are proposals. We are working on it.
More questions? Gloria.
Is the government at liberty to tell us some of these plans that you're working on as to indicate? Bring the mic. government at liberty to tell us some of the plans that you're working on to prolong the retirement pension?
Sure. Those plans and those things are not a big, not a big secret. They can be found. The bills are found on the legislature's website. One such option was something that Mr. Razanno mentioned, which is the casino bill. The pension obligation bond, which would inject a large amount of cash into that tranche fee. Another option is proceeds of the casino bill. There are also some other revenue generating measures, various ones.
Can I ask about the casino bill and the pension obligation? We just finished telling us that if nothing is settled, March 14th is the collapse of the retirement fund. Do you anticipate the casino or the pension obligation to save us before then? Or to at least extend it? I mean, aside from the 4 million he said we've been collected, he keeps saying there's plans, we're working on it, and I'm asking, are you at liberty to tell us some of those plans aside from those pending bills, like cutting a certain percentage of rebates and things like that are still sitting in the legislature?
Aside from what's sitting at the legislature, I would not be able to tell you anything concrete because they're still in an infant stage. But as they become proposals,
but the pension plan and the casino, do you anticipate those to help before the March 14th?
I couldn't tell you a definite date as to when they would be passed or when something would go through because, of course, that's not up to myself. That's up to the legislature and it's also the administration. But they do recognize the urgency. Also, for the government, we disagree that the March 1st date is the date when the funds will run out. We believe that actually is further out than the fund does.
Thank you for saying that because you keep saying you made better collections, but the deadline of 2014 is not moving. So I was wondering if one of you would say something like that. Thank you.
Well, I understand about Public Law 1782 and the administration of disabilities and Mr. Blind. Feeling sorry for everybody there. But all of us, I think, are in the same pot. Because we're all members of the retirement fund, whether we're active or retired. What's happening here is that retirees are fighting each other.
Yes, that's what the government wants.
Is can you give us an exact date and an exact impetus should 1782 become enacted and allowed to happen? What would happen directly in that fund? Or Mr. Razanno, whoever, but I think it's the governor's own to the governor's side. And the other thing is, why you sit here and give us try to placate us, and I'm not blaming you personally, but I do blame the administration and all the elected leaders on, we're doing something, and yet, what is it? Everybody knows that the casino bill will not work. The people have voted against casino, but they came back. There have been people who came here who are casino experts who said we'll be lucky in 5 to 6 years to get $3 million out of the casino bill. Do you think that will save our fund? I want to look at all of you. We are all in the same soup. I know you want to take your money out and
It's not the only one to save the fund, but it will help.
you know what would help? For $2.5 million is if the legislature gave up its $5,000 a month, beginning today. Where are
6 years ago.
That Razanno has said a very good thing. Let's look at our legislature and our governor. God love them, but how long have they not been paying into the fund to cause this collapse? How long have they been tweaking laws to destroy the retirement fund for all of us?
Absolutely.
And we're sitting here and arguing and blaming people that are actually trying to help us.
How long since the program has been passed or the law has been passed and the fund has never said anything?
For what?
When they suspended the government contribution to the fund.
Fighting
How
for
many
6
years
years.
is that?
So what?
The fund didn't say anything
Been
until that
fighting
now.
for 6
Not
years.
only the fund, we're
Until
all-
300 million is on the debt.
We're all guilty.
So
We are all
let us not
guilty
blame one
because
another.
we are looking at our elected leadership to help us and they fail. So are we going to sit here and piecemeal each other and say, I want to get off the city, you should give me my 20 grand, I need to reinvest it. Meanwhile, here's the 80-year-old, 65-year-old, or whoever that's trying to help their family because, as you said, times are hard.
Yeah.
Patel, can I ask you a question? She doesn't know.
I know, of course he doesn't know, but I'm just
Why are
bringing
you
up his
asking
story. Pardon me?
Why are you asking her?
The question I'm asking is not to you. I'm asking to us. There are more people here than just this. I'm sorry. I love you and I respect you. Why? Let's look at ourselves. Are we going to fight like cats and dogs for the one piece of bone, or are we going to say, what can we do? Are we going to, as retirees, say, let the government reduce its pay,
Yes.
let us reduce our pension, let's do everything and try to make the fund live for another 10 years so everybody can
Absolutely
get
right.
something. I don't know, but that's where I would go.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lee.
Thank you.
That was my question, by the way. It's to us, not to just...
For Mr. Enos and I guess everybody over here, I know that all of you have been following the reports that have been coming out on the paper about the retirement. And there's also a meeting in the internet, in the computer. This has been going on for quite some time already. I've seen some, but not all of it. At any event, what Mr. Razanno has said is, we take that on its face value. The matter is in court right now. And for those of us who are not particularly satisfied with that particular statement, welcome as American citizens. We have a court system that is very strong. In this particular case, the court had effectively hijacked the retirement fund. The court decides on practically anything. And part of it is our fault, because like I said, the cases in court were languishing, and the court, the plaintiffs on the other side, do not wish to wait anymore. So they're urging the court to get the case progressing in court. And the only way to do that is for the court to act and appoint somebody to represent the retirement fund. It is not our fault that our governor did not appoint the nominees for the Board of Trustees. And it's not our fault that the confirming committee of the legislature did not confirm them or rejected them. I don't know what happened. But this is the situation. The matter is in court. The payment for those defined benefit members who are currently employed and would like to have their money withdrawn will have to wait until the matter is settled by the court. We cannot do anything about it. Now, a question, Mrs. Hunter posed a question about the pension obligation fund. Not a very popular item. A number of people have been against it, complaining about it, but the people during the last election accepted it. The House has approved a deal and is now sitting, I believe, at the Senate. And once that particular bill is passed and signed into law by the governor, then CDA is the executive director. Yes. Let me tell you what happened. About 3 weeks ago, I had a meeting with the CDA executive director and his attorney. And this is after I delivered my letter to the President of the Senate and also the Speaker of the House. The letter is requesting that they push the pension obligation bond bill. And the meeting that I had with the executive director and his attorney, CDA, by the way, CDA is the authorized agency for the CNMI government to issue bonds. Autonomous agency, they can issue their own, but for and on behalf of the government, it has to be the CDA. So this is the reason why I met with the executive director of CDA and his attorney. Now, I told them I understand that issuing bond is an involved process and we have to get started. As a matter of fact, we are getting started very late now, but we need to push it. So, following that particular meeting, they asked for a meeting with the legislature, and I understand that they met to impress upon them to push it, try to get it passed as soon as possible. And we need to have that particular bill so that a bond underwriter may be engaged to start the work of putting together the portfolio for the bond. We have to wait. We have to wait. We are at the mercy of the people we put into office. But the bond, let me say this one more time so that everybody understands. The pension application bond is not an application of the retirement fund or the retirees. It is an obligation of the CNMI government. The reason why it's called pension obligation bond because what name should we put on it? It's the only logical thing to do. But I think that some people were opposing it because they thought that we're going to be paying for it. Yes, of course, the citizen of the CNMI will be paying for it, but so does everything else that we pay to get this government going. President tomorrow? Okay, is it pension obligation bond by the Senate? Iti alapelta tongkulo na azulo sa siya koso mapasa di Senate sa Cabrera i-goberno. Ang munada na azulo, CDA siyempre man-emplea o sino mangundi tao-tao din para po sopi i-bond underwriting. Pero sopi ipapit siya ipot minisisyoryo ipot para bendi i-bond. Now, Zao na pinapaulos ni Tanong Jaya. The bond, the pension obligation bond, dilipin i-retirement fund, di tampoko dilipin i-retirees, dilipin i-gobernamento i-CNMI. Ito na sa lapde para usay gobyerno para wapasi ilipinya bato i-retirement fund. Ja, hopefully, sa pwedeng i-retirement fund must be 300 million pesos. Hopefully, sila mabenefit must be 300 million pesos hopefully. It must make it, must call it. Right? Okay. One last question.